Okay, finally going to do this 420/318 video. One of the reasons that I bought the 420 was to do a direct comparison between the 318 and the 420. Now obviously on the opposite end of the spectrum you could compare a 322 and a 430 if you so choose. But both of these machines are Onan powered, and so I figured this would be a good opportunity to compare them. I think the first thing that strikes you is just its size difference. Clearly the 420 is much larger than the 318. It just overall mass, obviously the tires, the frame, the hood's longer, it's taller, etc. One of the things I do want to make sure to point out is, yes, the 318 does have some options on it that the 420 doesn't have: the 3-point, the suspension seats, and the weights, things like that. But I'm focused overall on the two machines. Also realize that the 420 would have a 50-inch or a 60-inch deck underneath it, and the 318 has a 46-inch deck underneath it. And the deck will be coming off in future videos. I just don't have anywhere to store it right now. So I'm going to do a walk around of these machines, and we're going to kind of look at and compare the two, and we'll go from there. So we're going to do the driver view of the 318 first. We're basically going to look around what we would see from the operator seat. I think the first and foremost thing you're going to see is you've got your PTO switch, you've got your throttle, and then you've got your hydrostatic handle for forward and reverse. You have your dual brakes, and you have your H2, your hydraulic outlets, or your hydraulic spools. The outside spool is going to be the one that controls the deck lift or the rear 3-point. It's also going to control the up and down for the snowblower and or blade or any front attachments. The inside lever is going to be the one with the the outside lever is going to control the angle of a snow blade or the chute if you have an option for a hydraulic rotated chute on a 49 blower, or the later 47s or 46s, etc. The inside lever is going to control the up-down because it has the float position. The float position is basically where you push the lever forward and it sticks. It allows the hydraulic spool to stick open and allows fluid to go through, back and forth through the valve to keep that attachment level with the ground. At the same time, something else to note is if you look down on the fender pan, there are no other knobs, switches, etc. You have your choke, you have your light, you have your lights that you can see now right there, and you have your key switch. And that is all you have on the 318. And so now we're going to go look at the 420 from the operator's perspective. Alright, so now the operator's perspective of the 420. So I'm standing in much the same spot, sitting in the operator's seat, but you can see how much larger the hood is on the 420 compared to the 318. And once again we'll go over all of the controls. So we have the throttle, your PTO, your lights, your hand hydrostat, forward, reverse, key switch, choke. Something I failed to mention on the 318 was the parking brake, which is the tip of my finger. You also have your dual brakes over on this side, and then you have your three hydraulic outlets over on this side. In this particular case, your outside lever, once again, lifts the deck. Your middle lever, your middle lever lifts the deck. Your outside lever is for your angle on your snowblower, snowplow, chute control on your snowblower, etc. And then the inside is the one with float, so that would be your up-down for the blower or the front attachment. So you have 3 spools of hydraulics. It separates the deck and the rear 3-point from the front. That allows the operator to have 2 attachments. So say for instance in the winter if you wanted to use a rear blade and you also wanted to use a front blade, you could do so because you have independent control of the rear, of lifting the rear blade, and then the lift and the angling on the front. So that's the big change with the H3 over the H2, and aside from the size. And then also a couple things we gain when we look down at the fender pan. We see that the 420 and also the 430 is going to have a 2-speed transaxle. At the same point, right now I have it neutral, so it allows you to put the tractor neutral and roll it around completely detached from the the differential is detached from the transmission. Also, you have differential lock right there that locks the rear axles together. By locking the rear axles together, if one tire is spinning an open differential, it will continue to spin because the other tire does not have any traction, and so the power is going to go where it doesn't need to go. By locking the differential together, both tires have the equal amount of power applied. However, you cannot turn with the differential that is locked, or you should not, or else you will tear up the axles. So that's the difference between 420 and a 318 from sitting in the operator seat. One of the big things that I have not said is that both the 318 and the 420 came normally with just regular spring seats. Suspension seat was an option. Suspension seat was not an option on a 420 or 430. A 430 came standard with a suspension seat. So now what we're going to do is we're going to compare the equipment, the attachment drivetrains for the front between the 420, 430 and the 318, the 316, 322, and 332, and the 330.